Hey everyone, it is Coach Mo Faul. I'm here with a pal of mine, Amy Anfinson. Hello, Amy.
Hello, Mo. Hello, everyone.
Today we're going to talk about the necessity of abundance and why your soul is demanding it. And when you don't have it, why it hurts so much. It's not just the bills. So Amy and I are going to dive into this topic. It's one of her favorite topics. And Amy Anfinson and I met in our coaching certification program 3 years ago. She was a proctor basically to all of us who were getting newly certified. And Amy, you've been certified as a coach for over 10 years now?
11 years, yes.
11 years, there you go. Amy Anfinson is a positive change coach, and her role in life right now is to help people. There's my puppy leaving the office. Is to help people really understand how to move from where they are to a more positive and aligned state. And we're going to dive into one of her and my favorite topics, abundance. If you're looking for Amy on the internet, you can find her at Amy Anfinson, ANFINSON.com, or worthyretreats.com, of which she is headed to one very shortly. So Amy lives in Greenfield, Missouri, and she and I are so delighted to interview with each other and talk about this really important topic. Amy, when we talk about abundance, you and I both talk about it in the fact that it's first a mindset. But there are so many other mindsets around money. I mean, face it, we talk about abundance. You and I mean it in the bigger scope of things with the abundance of the entire planet. But when we boil it down, it comes down to money. And so many of us were raised with beliefs around money that frankly don't support our highest self. So when we talk about abundance, I think we're going to have to tackle some myths first. And you and I both just reviewed one of the biggest myths is that money is the root of all evil. Kind of comes from a little bit of misinterpretation of what's in the Bible and scriptures and things like that. And so many of us were raised to the letter of the law on some of that stuff. What are some of the myths that you find in the clients you work with, or the things that you've had to go through to kind of bust that reality and go for something new? What are some of the myths you see that people are holding on to?
Well, I think people think that it's hard. It's hard to make money, and you've got to work really hard to do that. And so when they see people that are making money with ease, they don't think that's right, that it could be that easy. And so I think so much of the time there's a judgment that we have towards other people that holds us back from letting that money flow in because of our judgments. And
true.
Yeah.
So true. I have a woman, client who graduated from my program. She chose to get into a bit of a lower paying job because the higher paying job she had basically crushed her soul, killed her family life, and she basically had what I call a job trauma pattern. So she had to leave that job. She just had to for her own survival.
Mm-hmm.
So in her mental conditioning, she has equated making that level of money with that feeling state. And it totally synced up with what she's always heard about money.
Mm-hmm.
And she became justified in a belief system that was handed to her. You see, when you're going to make that kind of money, you have to make every sacrifice in the world, and it's not worth it. I see this probably with every client I work with. And I'm, as you know, working with women with their careers and helping them up level. And this is something that there's like an upper limit thing going on for a lot of folks around a certain level of money. How do you help people break through some of this money is the root of all evil and things like that? What's the first things that you start to introduce your clients to help them?
You know, I start with kind of the basics of helping them understand their own internal guidance. We've all been given an internal guidance, and we know by the way we feel when we're on track and when we're not, much like the game when we were a child, when you were hunting for something, getting hotter, getting colder. And so it's like helping people awaken to their emotional state and their inner guidance so that they can feel the difference from truth and resonance and facts that were taught to them. And so when you start there, you have a solid foundation to build upon. So when you do look at these things, these myths and these beliefs that every one of us have taken on,
Right.
then you have something that's solid that you can help guide them to their own truth.
Yeah. And when I'm helping clients with some of that, I also try to point out maybe some factual indicators so that what their belief system is and what they're locked in on seeing, we start to open the viewfinder, if you will. And I always turn this money is the root of all evil to money is the root of all philanthropy.
So true.
There's no philanthropy without money. And there's no philanthropy without an abundance of money. If everyone was making what their bills are, there would be no extra to go around to seed things that are necessary to help evolve humanity and take care of social problems and issues and things like that. The highest worth people on this planet have contributed hundreds of millions of dollars to really, really worthwhile causes. So in my mind, I can't even wrap myself around money is the root of all evil because I see all around me the evidence that it is actually the root of all supporting humanity and moving humanity forward in many great causes and situations. And certainly Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, just to name a few. And there's plenty others. And there's some that don't even do it with any name recognition or people we would not know who are not household names, who are contributing to the abundance of the planet in ways that are beyond their own personal abundance. So when we follow our own guidance system, like you talked about, there's not a lot of training on feeling good about money. I can say from a parenting perspective and all the thousands of people I've talked to in this coaching role I've had for almost 4 years now, that most people are taught negative beliefs around money. Can we just illuminate some of those just so we can kind of like start unwrapping these? I mean, money is the root of all evil is one. What are some of the other ones that you hear and see?
Well, I noticed that as we grow up, we think that we're limited to what's possible because when we were younger, we were dependent on our parents. And if our parents didn't have a wealthy, abundant mindset, they were always feeling like they were the source to their children.
Yes.
And so what I help people look at is that, what your parents were able to give you was limited. But when you really tap into whether you call it God, source, the universe, you have unlimited resources. So helping them get past what they were told from their parents about what you can spend and what's possible, and tapping into a greater source where you have unlimited opportunities and cooperative people and opportunities that show up for you.
Right. One of the common funny ones is that money doesn't grow on trees. And I usually counteract that with thank goodness, because I'd have to go out and go harvest it off the tree, or it might fall off the tree rotten. So thank goodness it comes from multiple sources and doesn't come from trees.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There was a client I worked with about a year plus ago, and she was a theater major in college. She toured with theater companies and did shows. She's a singer, dancer, she's a theater person. And when she got to be in her mid-30s, she realized that life on the road was just a little bit too rough. So she settled down and she began to do odd jobs like a lot of people who are in that business do, waitressing, this, that, and the other thing. And she eventually got into a situation where she was cleaning homes for a living. And she booked a clarity call with my team. I did not do her clarity call personally, but I did have the opportunity to coach her because she joined my workshop. And she was a law of attraction guru. She knew all the words. She knew all the phrases. She knew everything that was like all the buzzwords, all the, she's read many books on it. And with all due respect to people who clean homes, this was where she was at with her career. And she knew she wanted more. So when we got into what she wanted to do, she wanted to do peer counseling to help people with addiction recover and gain a normal life. So she got herself certified in that. So when she joined my workshop, she's cleaning homes for a living, but she has this certification that she wanted to do something with. So she gets in the workshop, we dust off her soul, we get her shining nice and bright and feeling good about herself, but that wasn't too easy because she had a lot of limiting beliefs about her worth, who she is, and she had a lot of limiting beliefs, Amy, about what work means. So when we started peeling the layers, because she's like, well, a real job Monday through Friday, I don't know if that's me. I'm not sure if I can do that. And I need to be free and all of this stuff. Peeling back the layers. Neither one of her parents really held steady jobs while she was growing up. She learned that people with money were horrible people. As she was cleaning these people's homes for her current job, every minute she was resenting it. She was resenting them. She was full of hate around money. She was literally repelling it with every thought she had all day long, and even afterwards, blabbing to her friends about how people don't have any regard for money and they have these big houses and they don't need those big houses, like on and on, repelling money, judging people with it. And I said to her, you are locking in your beliefs of scarcity in such a way that you have put every lock on that cage. You have put shackles on your ankles, shackles on your wrists. You might as well have one around your neck. You are bound by all of these beliefs and the hatred you have for money. She broke down in tears. And it was her big aha moment that she had always hated money, always felt bad about it, and had always repelled money. And that this is where she was in her life. We began to shift her money beliefs, shift her beliefs of her own self-worth, because as you and I know, that was all tied up into how she really felt about herself.
Right.
So she began to work on herself. She gets a peer counseling job. She's working Monday through Friday. She's kind of like autonomous because she goes to these people's homes and she's like on her own schedule. So she's kind of got that going on too. But she began to get her beliefs coming re-energizing. I don't know about Monday through Friday. I don't know about being accountable. She's getting a regular paycheck. Is this for real? So we had to keep working together on this. And she got actually 2 jobs in my workshop. And the second job was more money. And I interviewed her for one of my client interviews. And right after that interview, she got another big job opportunity. And then she started knowing that she had choices. Mm-hmm. So she's living a very free, abundant feeling mindset now. And she's doing theater for fun and hobby, where she had blocked that. So tell me what you're seeing as a positive change coach in that story that I just told you. Illuminate some of the things that are in that story.
Well, it's really what coaches help with so much is bringing awareness to thoughts, helping them see what they're saying to themselves, because what you say to someone else is really what you're saying to yourself. And so when we illuminate in a non-judging way where they feel emotionally safe and supported, they're able to awaken to these underlying stories that they have going on. And by doing that, now they have the ability to change it, because without that awakening, you can't change something that you're not aware of. And so with that awareness, she's able to tap into this inner truth, because our natural state is well-being. Our natural state is happiness. Our natural state is knowing how abundant this universe truly is. Yeah. And when we're not in that state, we don't have access to it. All of our thoughts have momentum. And when people have had thoughts over and over, there's a lot of momentum. So it's like a train. You're not going to stop it immediately, but over time, you're just continuing to share a new perspective and a new perspective and a new perspective. And then that becomes their new normal. And that's what I know that that's what you do in the work that I do as well. It's just creating that safe place for people to address themselves. Yes. And get out of their own way, right?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's interesting how even though we begin to be awakened and know what is more true and allow ourselves to have that inner guidance system that is leading us to more truth, the beliefs want to keep tackling us. And this is something that, I mean, I don't usually talk about ego in my coaching. It's not a word that I find to be a worthwhile word too much. I use the word gremlins, false beliefs, things like that. Mm-hmm. We have this habitual conditioning, even as we become awakened and as we become moving into more of our power and a higher version of ourselves. Let's talk a little bit about how we get pushed back into those old beliefs and what we can do about them. Because when it comes to money, and I mentioned that other client who was really resistant to earning this level of money because it hurt. And she was basically convinced that that was what the trade-off was for making that level of money. And she now knows that that's not true. It was just an experience that she had. Mm-hmm. And that there's plenty of people who make double and triple that who are having a fun life and enjoying things and in their flow and ease. Why do those limiting beliefs keep coming back? Why are we getting pushed back into those things?
Well, I think they're there for a purpose, because until we revisit it over and over, it's like repetition, right? It's like water that flows down a rock. Over time, it creates a tunnel, but it's repetition. And that's why I love, like, once you start understanding this, you're just looking for reminders, because once you get the aha and the download, because we really learn through our own life experiences. But once you get that aha, now you just want to keep revisiting and revisiting, because we want those reminders. And that's why who you spend time with, whether it be in a coaching group, mastermind, going to retreats, one-on-one coaching, it's the repetition of continuing to keep your mind in that place, because we can go back.
Yeah.
But it's so easy once you get it. Like, you can feel how uncomfortable it is to go back.
Yes,
and
exactly.
you're like, oh, no, that's not how I want to operate anymore. Right. And your worth just continues to expand more and more.
Yeah.
There's really no ending to what you can open up to and create in your own life.
Yes. And we have to know in a deep level, a deep knowingness, we can call it faith. Faith still has a little bit of holes for me. That word still has kind of like some wiggle room. Well, I have faith here, but I don't have faith here, type of thing. But when we know that our birthright is for happiness, flow, ease, joy, and abundance, all of that goes together on the same lane of the highway. Some of my clients have said they didn't even know that lane of the highway existed, because they were taught and have believed for so many years that they'd have to work harder and harder. And Mo, if I want to go from 100,000 to 200,000, don't I have to work twice as hard? And my boss is an ass. So if I make 200,000, aren't I going to have to be an ass to keep that level and to do that? Answers are always no, 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 no. So, when I was making huge money in the corporate world, I was sometimes difficult because I had pressures on me. But in my inner core, I'm not an ass. And so there are plenty of leaders out there who are benevolent, wonderful people wanting to make a difference in the world. And in my experience of abundance, and we're talking about in the practical world now, our contribution is equal to our compensation, because money is energy. And if we're contributing at a higher level, and I'm talking org chart, I'm talking impact and influence, we're contributing at a higher level, we're compensated at a higher level. And the more contribution we make, the higher our compensation is. And it doesn't have to be efforting as contribution. I mean, if we take a look at Warren Buffett as an example, he owns companies and buys valuable companies and makes them more valuable. I don't know what the number is, but I'm sure that his companies in total have probably millions of employees. So his contribution is affecting millions of people and their families and their futures. That's a heck of a contribution. No wonder he's worth billions and billions of dollars. His contribution to the planet is huge, huge. And so this is what I help my clients understand, is that their contribution of abundance to others is the thing that comes first. And then the energy of money cycles back to them. And so a lot of the myths about money are that if we put money first and only, we're going to have problems. And that's true. We need to match our contribution level, our influence, and our impact so that the compensation that flows is in the right feeling state. Can you talk a little bit about the right feeling state and how abundance is our natural birthright?
Yeah, and the word that just kept coming to me was creation. As you hear these people creating these amazing organizations and opportunities to fund projects, it's creation.
Yes.
And when someone is doing what they love, and they love the process of creating, it's not about getting to the end of the creation, it's about the creating.
Yeah.
And I think those people that are so abundant have learned how to get out of the results and into the enjoyment of the creating. And so when we can practice that creating state of recognizing, oh, I have a contrast, which gives me clarity about what I do want. So here's what I want now. And then it's about keeping the mindset in the place of moving it towards your desires. You can feel when you're focused on what you do want versus what you don't want. When you're focused on that, it's fun to watch the steps fall into place, the right people show up, the ideas come to you. You can have abundance of clarity, you can have abundance of ideas, you can have abundance of people that support you and people that you support. Like, right. It's the creating is that abundant state that we operate from. And so when we can keep the bigger picture in perspective, I think that's where the enjoyment is, and the ease of sharing your gifts and sharing your talents and sharing your service to people, because it's easy and it's enjoyable and it's fun creating.
Yes, yes. I want to talk one kind of final time on poverty mindset and the urgency of treating this. And poverty mindset is a set of beliefs that are fully encoded in our subconsciousness that's convinced us that this is our lot in life. Poverty mindset can be barely paying the bills. Poverty mindset can be I'll always have credit card debt. Poverty mindset can be I'll never have enough. Poverty mindset can be my ex-husband screwed me out of everything and my life will suck from now on. Poverty mindset, as we were just talking earlier, Amy, is a freaking problem that needs to be solved, that needs to be healed, that needs to be treated and cured, just like thyroid disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer. Poverty is right there with a condition that absolutely hurts people and needs to be treated. And when we're talking about abundance as the soul's birthright, as our own, every soul, every person on this planet has a birthright of abundance. And when we've pinched ourselves off regularly, maybe even from day one, because maybe the people who raised us had that mindset, had that disease, and they passed it on to us. So we have to align with our abundance and our abundant birthright, our abundant, like it's like just like health and well-being, like you said, that's our birthright. So if we're not right in our body, we fix it. So if we're not right in our abundance, we have to fix it. It's a critical problem. And shout out to all of the parents. If you're in poverty mindset and you're raising kids, you're perpetuating the disease. So it's up to you to fix this so that the kids that are learning from you and taking your beliefs as theirs and perpetuating that that we freaking fix this. The world is an abundant place. I've been looking since November at a building going up right in front of me, like 200 feet away from me. This building, this structure, floor after floor, and all these workers and all of this abundance, this building. And I've got abundance of trees and grass and sky and beauty, and just a mile plus down the other way, the beautiful abundant ocean. When I'm focusing on that, I'm energizing my abundance.
Absolutely.
How do you energize your abundance, Amy?
I get out in nature, because when you recognize the other night I was looking up at the stars. We have a hammock out on our deck, and I just like looking out into the world, the stars, the sky. And speaking of abundance, there was an abundance of stars that night. And I was just in awe of like, wow, this magnificent world that we live in. And I remember saying to God, you know, with all these stars out there, I know you can send me a shooting star. And then I didn't think much else about it. And my husband and I were talking. And then I said to him, what do you think stars are made of? And he said, rock. And I said, yeah, probably so. And I'm thinking gas. And I said, don't you know that that's what we're made of too? We have some heaviness to our physical body. And then we have the spirit that's light, like gas. And I said, so we're like the stars. Guess what happened when I said that?
Shooting star!
He came right in, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So, you know, getting out in nature and just feeling the abundance of air and grass and trees and flowers, and just looking around and seeing all the kind people that are, you know, wanting to help. There's such an abundance of so much good. So I look for the good, and I look for things to appreciate, and that's how I get there.
Yeah. And that is doing a few things. It's energizing your energy field to a positive attractor pattern for more. It is also rewiring your physiology so that your emotions and your thoughts are wired in the brain. When I'm feeling abundant, I feel good. When I'm thinking these thoughts, I feel good. So the brain chemistry and the neural pathways are getting wired in. This is an important part of our belief system, is the physiology of our beliefs. So we're wiring that in a positive way. We're increasing our attractor pattern in our energy body. And that's how we move from where it doesn't feel good to where it's now going to feel awesome. And our birthright is awesomeness. And our birthright is to feel good as many minutes of the day as possible. Now, we sometimes talk, and Amy and I have known each other for 3 years, and we've coached each other back and forth and helped each other get into our alignment and our best feeling state and our higher version of ourselves through thick and thin. We've had some things that we've helped each other through with life events, and how we get kind of tossed around and we are thrown into a non-good feeling state, and helping move us into a better feeling state. Amy's an expert at helping people move from a non-good feeling emotional state into a higher emotional state. And Amy, abundance is up with love. Abundance and love are vibrating at the same energetic level. And when we are there, we are attracting all good things. How do you help your clients rewire or recalibrate themselves into that higher feeling state? What is it that you do with your clients?
You know, I really help them to see what's going well amongst the challenges and the struggles that show up in their life. I had one client who, while working with him, lost his job. And we just focused on how he always lands on his feet. He always attracts the right people. And we just held that space of like, well, hey, maybe this is an opportunity for you to now go out on your own and do your own consulting, because he was a builder. And he ended up attracting so many different people and projects and jobs, even beyond where he was at. And so a lot of times it's like helping them remember who they are.
Yeah.
And remember how everything really has always worked out for them. I know that's one of your sayings
Yes.
you love to share, which I absolutely agree and love with. Everything is always working out for you. So I am always enforcing that. And then I also, my saying is the better it gets, the better it gets. So,
Yeah.
you know, if something happens that you don't like, keep an open mind to see the bigger picture of what good can come from this. Because when you stay in that open state, you allow it in. If you stay focused on the problem, that's a different vibrational state than the solution. So
Yeah.
it's about just helping them let go of their grip of this was an injustice, this was wrong,
Right.
blame.
Right.
I really help them move into a blameless state, which I'm writing a book about that. And
Yes.
so yeah, learning how to be blameless, not blaming yourself, not blaming others, really helps you to step into your worth. And
Yeah.
when you feel worthy of the good, like my daughter, I moved her out to Colorado this summer. 2 months afterwards, she told us her car wasn't her fault. She's safe. She was at a red light. But I said to her, you know, honey, you've been asking for a 4-wheel drive for the winter. I said, you might want to be careful what you ask for.
Oh, right.
I said, I'm so thankful that you're safe. I said, your dad and I love you. We'll support you. We'll get through this. And I said, but I encourage you in this moment where you're renting Uber, having Uber rides to work, I encourage you to set your intention. What do you want from this?
Yeah.
Like, what if you could get more of what you were looking for, the vehicle, the 4-wheel drive to get you through the winters? And so it's so much about pausing and having the bigger perspective and saying, okay, this was really sucky. This was not what I wanted, but what good can come from it? And then learning how to focus on that thing and not go into the doubt mode, but to just stay in that open state of,
Right.
I wonder what good can come from this.
Right. Right. How can I have fun in this process?
Absolutely. I love the word fun and ease.
Yes.
That is, I want to move through all my contrasts with fun and ease as much as possible.
Right. One last thing I want to touch on, and then we're going to do something fun together. I'm going to surprise you with something fun we're going to do together. One last thing I want to talk about is criticism. Self-criticism, but also criticism of others. You're writing this book on being blameless, living a blameless life, which means, again, not blaming the self, not blaming others. And I think it's such a brilliant concept to elaborate on, and I can't wait to see more and hear more and talk more about that. When you first told me about that, I was like, that's so great. It frees us up. So a lot of us are walking around criticizing others, criticizing the government, criticizing politicians, criticizing builders, criticizing bosses, criticizing money, criticizing people with money, criticizing people who don't think like us, criticizing. And, you know, I've been in the trap sometimes of saying, I'm not criticizing, I'm just observing. It doesn't matter. If our attention is on what we don't like and don't want, we are going to get more of that. Where our attention goes, energy flows. And if we are criticizing people with money, if we are criticizing progress and abundance and things out there that look like they cost money and spend money, and, you know, there was an element of me growing up with being envious of people who had nice cars. I loved cars. I still do. I just love nice cars. I can remember one time, God bless my mother, I said, oh, the neighbor's new car is so cool, and that's so neat, and that's such a great car. When I grow up, I'm going to have a car just like that. And the first things out of my mom's mouth were, that was expensive. I don't know how they're affording that. Or something to the effect of, there must be scrimping in other areas of their life in order to afford that. And so I went from happiness and excited about someone who had something cool that I wanted to having that be criticized and having fear thrown into that equation. Now, my mom is a product of how she was raised, in World War II baby, and, you know, there was a lot of lack of abundance around that time. Mm-hmm. But I want everyone here to understand that you cannot attract what you criticize. No, you repel it. You're attracting more of that feeling state. You just cannot attract what you want when you're busy criticizing, criticizing, criticizing. So we talked about moving from a better feeling state. We talked about when something goes wrong, focus on what you want out of it. We talked about when something goes wrong or gives you contrast, to actually figure out how you can enjoy it or go into more of a happy feeling state through it. We talked about rewiring our brain with positive experiences. Let's, you and I, Amy, do a little bit of a rampage. Okay? I'm going to do a positive, good state, abundant statement. And then you're going to do one. We're going to do like ping pong, just for as long as we find it to be fun and happy to do. So I'm going to say, I love money and it loves me. Go.
And well, let me think here. I love allowing things to unfold for me.
I love the opportunity to manage more and more money, and I use it wisely.
I love multiplying my money.
I love watching the beauty of what money can do in the world.
I love surprising and delighting people with money.
I love providing more and more for people in my world and in my life because I have more and more.
I love allowing myself to receive my heart's desires.
I love increasing my vibrational level so that I'm on a plane where there is continual flow and ease, and I know through that all abundance flows through me.
I love being a light that shines bright and gives everyone else permission to light up and share with others.
Sweet. I know as I continue to increase my love of life and the vision of abundance, that avalanches of abundance flow to me and through me.
I love gentle catapults of expansion that bring avalanches of money.
I love being a coach who has the opportunity and the privilege to watch other human souls burst forth and lighten up and have their ease and flow and abundance come to them. I love seeing that. I love watching that. It makes me so happy and so abundant feeling to watch other people feel abundance.
I love watching all of my friends, my clients, my family can be more lighthearted, more prosperous, have greater self-worth, and we all get to play on this amazing planet together.
I love hearing stories from my friends like Amy Anfinson, who views stars and talks about how stars are made up of the same stuff as us physical, beautiful human beings on this planet. And when she says that, she sees a miracle in the sky flashing through just like she asked for.
I love all the signs and synchronicities and confirmations that we get on a daily basis when we are awake and aware and ready to receive.
So great. Thank you for playing with me on that. That was fun.
Great idea. I like rampages.
That's right. It's so much fun to really keep that momentum of positive, good feeling state about a subject going on and continuing to raise our vibration. Folks, we are all souls on this planet desiring. Actually, some of our souls are demanding that we pay attention to our good feeling states. So use this interview with my beautiful, lovely friend, Amy, as continued inspiration to raise your vibration. Know that your birthright is happiness and joy and freedom. And with that comes all of the good things that you desire. Please allow yourself the opportunity to release the pinching off, to release the criticism, release the judging of yourself, because that's where it's all residing. So make a commitment to yourself this week. What can you do to focus on the abundance around you? What can you do this week to release your own self-criticism and to allow your soul to speak to you? Your soul is a beautiful, awesome energy, and it wants you to be happy. It wants to be aligned with your desires. It wants your desires to come forth. So give yourself 2 commitments. Number 1, look at abundance all around you. And number 2, stop the self-criticism. Or in Amy's words, stop blaming yourself and others and just enjoy. Folks, as a reminder, you can connect with, find Amy. She's a positive change coach. And as you've just seen, she is a beautiful, lovely soul on this planet. Amy is at amyanfinson.com and or worthyretreats.com. She's headed to Europe to conduct a beautiful retreat and to connect with a client and friend of mine, another coach in Paris. So this is the life that is available to all of us. Amy, anything you want to wrap up this beautiful conversation with before we say goodbye for today?
Just want to encourage everyone to be kind with themselves, say things that make themselves feel good and others to feel good, and to just allow themselves to receive their heart's desires. Everyone is able and willing to let in the good. And so thank you so much, Mo, for having me. I always enjoy our visits. We can talk and talk, and it's always expanding. And so I appreciate you very much. I appreciate your generosity and all that you share with your clients and friends, and helping this world feel the abundant life that is available to them. So thank you.
You got it. And right back at you. It's been my absolute pleasure to connect with you today and to share our thoughts and ideas and to brighten the world. Folks, you can find me at mofaul.com. I've got a free webinar, 5 shifts I used to bring my career into the 6-figure plus range. And you can also use those 5 shifts. It's mofaul.com/free training. Or if you're ready to rock and roll, book yourself a career clarity call. It's free, but it's also priceless. And you can do that at mofaul.com/strategy. So let's get it rocking and rolling. Let's get your abundance going. Amy, again, beautiful conversation. I love you, sister, and have a great time until we talk again. Folks, go find your soul, and for God's sake, bring it to work. Over and out. See you later, Amy.
Thank you, Mo.